My wife cheated on me with her therapist, while having me pay for her sessions and accusing me of being the root of her stress. She forgot we had a prenup. I went scorched earth. All right, Reddit. Grab your popcorn because this one's messy. My wife spent 4 months sleeping with her therapist on a couch I paid $200 per hour for, then acted shocked when I went scorched earth. The prenup she cried about signing was the best investment I ever made. It's a bit long, but seriously read the whole thing. The ending is definitely worth it. I'm Kai, 34 male, been married to Rebecca for 5 years, together for 7. I run a logistics consulting firm that I built from scratch. 7 figures. Rebecca knew this when we got married, which is exactly why I insisted on a prenup. Rebecca fought it hard, cried, accused me of not trusting her, the whole speech. Her mother called me cynical and unromantic, but my old man died when I was 25 and left my mom with nothing because he trusted the wrong woman. So I learned that lesson early. The prenup stayed. She signed it 2 weeks before the wedding. Rebecca worked as a brand consultant, maybe 3 clients at a time, billed about $30,000 a year. I was pulling 80-hour weeks, managing a team of 12. Our mortgage, the cars, the vacations, all from my income. She contributed to groceries sometimes. 3 years in, she started getting restless. Said she felt unfulfilled. Her business mentor suggested therapy. She found Dr. Adrian Wu, 38-year-old therapist who specialized in personal development. Fancy office downtown, charged $200 per session. I paid for it, figured it was an investment in our marriage. The first month was great. She came home energized, talking about boundaries and finding her voice. Started meditating, journaling, the whole wellness routine. I thought it was good for our relationship, you know? Boy, I was stupid. Month 2, things shifted. Every session became about our marriage. Dr. Wu thought my work schedule was problematic. Dr. Wu noticed I made financial decisions without consulting her. Dr. Wu felt my tone was dismissive. The kicker was when I suggested we create a budget together. Dr. Wu told her that was a tactic abusers use to maintain power. A budget. Apparently, I was an abuser for suggesting it. I proposed couples therapy. She shut it down. Dr. Wu had warned her that was me trying to control the narrative. She was on her phone constantly, smiling at texts, taking calls in the other room. Started dressing better on therapy days, like she was going on a date. Her sessions went from 1 hour to 3 hours. She'd come home flushed, happy, energized. When I'd ask how therapy went, she'd get defensive. 4 months in, I came home early from a client meeting. Found her FaceTiming with someone, laughing. Bedroom door closed. I opened it and she jumped. Ended the call immediately. Dr. Wu. They were debriefing from her morning session. At 6 p.m., trauma. What trauma? She grew up in the suburbs with 2 parents who paid for her college. But sure, trauma. I let it go. Didn't want to be the jealous, controlling husband Dr. Wu was training her to see. But I started watching patterns. Every Monday and Thursday therapy days, she'd spend an extra hour getting ready. Hair, makeup, the works. She'd come home 3, sometimes 4 hours later. Vague answers. Processing, learning, growing. All the therapy buzzwords with no substance. She started picking fights over nothing. Loading the dishwasher wrong. Each tiny thing became evidence of my disrespect. And every argument ended the same. Dr. Wu says this is a pattern. Dr. Wu thinks I should consider whether this marriage is healthy. Then came the Friday that changed everything. Rebecca was in the shower, phone on the nightstand. It buzzed. The preview said, "Can't stop thinking about Tuesday. You're incredible." Korha! I picked up her phone. No password. She'd removed it 3 weeks ago because Dr. Wu said password protecting devices indicated trust issues. Opened the messages. Scrolled up. Months of texts. Flirting. Then explicit. Photos. Plans. Details about what they'd done on his office couch. I screenshot everything and sent it to my email. There was a session scheduled for Monday. According to the texts, Rebecca was planning to tell Dr. Wu she wanted to leave me. He was encouraging it. I sat there, listening to the shower run, holding all the evidence. 5 years of marriage. And she was sleeping with her therapist while I paid $200 an hour for it. The shower turned off. Rebecca came out in a towel, saw me holding her phone. Her face went pale, then red. "What are you doing?" "Reading about how incredible you were on Tuesday." Adrian seems very impressed. "You went through my phone? That's a violation of my privacy. Dr. Wu was right about you. Pack a bag. You're leaving tonight. This is my house too. Check the deed. My name. You've got 30 minutes. Kai, please, it's not what you think. You're sleeping with your therapist. There's no context that makes that okay. 29 minutes. I called my lawyer, Adrian, told him Rebecca's been cheating with her therapist. I've got texts and photos, everything. I wanted her out tonight, and I wanted to file Monday morning. Jason called about golf. I told him change of plans. Rebecca's sleeping with her therapist, and she's moving out tonight. He said he was already in his car. He showed up 20 minutes later. Rebecca came down with 2 suitcases. I told her my lawyer would be in touch. She asked where she was supposed to go. I suggested Dr. Wu. I'm sure he'd have some therapeutic suggestions. She left, tires squealing. Jason sat with me and asked if I was good. Yeah, 5 years with someone who saw me as a bank account, and I was finally out. He asked about the prenup. Ironclad. She gets nothing. We talked, and I started planning my next move. This wasn't just about divorcing Rebecca. Dr. Savaho had messed with the wrong guy. That weekend was productive. While Rebecca was presumably crying to her therapist-turned-boyfriend, I was building a case that would bury both of them. Saturday morning, my lawyer Adrian came over with his paralegal, Jennifer. Mid-40s, sharp. I showed her everything. Messages going back 4 months, photos, session notes where he'd written observations about me, mixed with commentary about how she deserved better. She explained I could report him to the state licensing board, and since I paid for these sessions, I had standing to file a civil suit against him for fraud. With this evidence, we could get substantial damages. I told her to do it. We spent the next 6 hours going through everything. Jennifer documented it all. My lawyer Adrian drafted divorce papers citing adultery. We had photos, texts, session notes Dr. Wu had sent Rebecca via email. The guy documented his own malpractice. Sunday, Rebecca started texting. Apologies. Then justification. Then demands. I didn't respond. Monday morning, 9 a.m., Rebecca was served. By 9:30, my phone was exploding. 17 messages. My favorite? Dr. Wu says you're doing this to punish me, and it won't hold up in court. The guy was giving legal advice now. Well, Dr. Wu was about to get whooped. My lawyer Adrian called. Rebecca lawyered up with Parker. He was asking about the prenup. What did you tell him? That it's airtight and his client walks away with $8,000 and a 2015 Honda Civic. Beautiful. Jennifer filed the licensing board complaint that morning. We were drafting the civil suit, but I told them to wait. Let him think that's the worst of it. Tuesday, I got a call from an unknown number. Dr. Adrian whooped. Kai, I think we need to talk. We have nothing to talk about. I understand you're upset, but Rebecca and I didn't plan this. You screwed my wife on a couch I paid for during sessions I funded. There's no therapy in that. If we could just meet, you're going to lose your license. Then I'm suing you for everything. That's our only relationship now. I hung up. He called back 3 times. Blocked the number. Wednesday, Rebecca and Dr. Wu had a massive fight. She was pissed he hadn't warned her about the consequences. Thursday, Parker called with a settlement offer. Rebecca would agree to the prenup terms if I paid her $50,000 and didn't pursue the complaint against Dr. Wu. My counteroffer was simple. She gets nothing, admits to adultery in writing, and Dr. Wu can fend for himself. Friday, I got an email from Rebecca's account, clearly written by Dr. Wu. Long therapy speak about how I was using the legal system as abuse. Requested I drop all complaints. I forwarded it to Jennifer. Her response made me smile. This is gold. He's admitting to the therapeutic relationship while inserting himself into divorce proceedings. That night, Jason and I went out for steaks. He asked how I was so calm. I told him because I'm winning. She thought she'd leave me, take half my stuff, and ride off with her therapist. Instead, she's getting nothing. He's losing his career, and I'm about to be free. Saturday morning, Rebecca's mother Jasmine showed up at 8 a.m. Kai, we need to talk about this situation. No, we don't. Rebecca made a mistake. You're being cruel. She made her choice. I'm responding appropriately. You can afford to be generous. Give her something to start over with. Jasmine, I gave her 5 years of paying for everything while she built nothing. She can start over with a job. Her face went hard. The prenup isn't fair. She was young. She was 27, not 17. She understood fine. She left pissed. I went for my run. The licensing board moved fast. 10 days after Jennifer filed, Dr. Adrian Wu got notified. Practice suspended. Rebecca had been there when he got the notice. Another fight. That weekend, I sent an email to every professional contact Dr. Wu had listed on his website. Just forwarded the public licensing board complaint with a note about professional courtesy. By Monday, his professional network was gone. 2 therapy practices removed him from referral lists. A professional organization asked him to resign. Beautiful. 6 weeks after I kicked Rebecca out, the divorce was in full swing. She was not handling it well. She'd moved in with Dr. Wu. Turns out living with an unemployed boyfriend was less exciting than a forbidden therapist. They were fighting constantly. Money, mostly. Without income, he was drowning. And Rebecca, who'd never paid for anything, was suddenly splitting rent with a guy who had nothing. Parker kept trying to crack the prenup. Argued coercion, claimed Rebecca didn't have independent counsel. My lawyer Adrian shut down every argument. The court date got scheduled for late October. Rebecca started a social media campaign, posted about emotionally abusive marriages and financial control. Didn't name me, but anyone who knew us could figure it out. The comments were mixed. Her college roommate even commented asking why she was leaving out the part about Dr. Wu. Rebecca deleted it and blocked her. But screenshots live forever, and several people sent them to me. Jason thought it was hilarious. I said nope. Everything she posts is evidence of her trying to manipulate the narrative. The licensing board wrapped up fast. 8 weeks after the complaint, Dr. Adrian Wu lost his license. Permanently. Multiple violations. An affair with a current patient. Using therapeutic relationship for personal gain. Boundary violations. Rebecca was listed as a victim. Dr. Wu tried to appeal. Got shut down. That's when I filed the civil lawsuit. $500,000 in damages. Fraud, malpractice, intentional interference with marriage. Dr. Wu couldn't afford a good lawyer. The first settlement discussion, his lawyer offered $10,000. Jennifer laughed and told them we're not settling for anything less than $300,000 and a public admission. Meanwhile, the divorce was reaching its final stages. Parker had given up on the prenup. Now he was trying to get Rebecca anything. Asked for temporary spousal support. My lawyer Adrian argued she'd been independent when we married. The judge agreed. No support. But Rebecca still thought she could fight back. Her next move was claiming she'd contributed to my business. Said she'd provided emotional support and networking. Jennifer destroyed that in cross-examination. Asked Rebecca to name one client she'd introduced me to. Couldn't. Asked what work she'd done for the company. Silence. Rebecca walked out crying. Preliminary hearing was a formality. Judge reviewed the prenup, found it valid. Rebecca would get her belongings, her car, her bank account. Everything else stayed with me. She tried to make a statement to the judge about how unfair it all was. The judge cut her off and told her she signed an agreement with independent counsel, committed adultery, and had no grounds to contest. The divorce will proceed as outlined. Parker looked defeated. Rebecca looked pissed. Outside the courthouse, she tried to approach me. My lawyer Adrian and Jennifer stepped between us. Kai, please, can we just talk for 5 minutes? Your lawyer can talk to my lawyer. I made a mistake. Adrian manipulated me. You're 32 years old. You made a choice. Live with it. I walked away. That night, I got a long email from Rebecca. 5 pages explaining how Dr. Wu had manipulated her. How if I gave her another chance, she'd prove she could be the wife I needed. I forwarded it to Jennifer without reading past the first paragraph. Jennifer's response. She's panicking. Do not respond. I didn't. Dr. Wu's lawyer called with a settlement offer. $150,000, no admission of wrongdoing, paid over 3 years. I countered with $400,000, full admission, paid in 1 year, and he has to send a letter to every person on his professional contact list admitting what he did. We settled at $325,000, full admission of wrongdoing, paid over 18 months, and the letter. Dr. Wu signed it. The divorce was finalized in December, 8 months after I kicked Rebecca out. She got her car, $8,000 from her bank account, and her personal items. I kept everything else. That night, me and Jason went out for dinner. How are you doing, man? I'm perfect. Good. You gonna date? Eventually. Right now, I'm just enjoying the peace. Text from an unknown number. You destroyed my life. I hope you're happy. I showed Jason. I typed back. You did. I just stopped funding it. Blocked the number. 3 months after the divorce, Rebecca and Dr. Wu had broken up. Shocking no one. Living together unemployed and broke kills romance fast. She'd moved back with her parents at 32. He'd moved to a different state to rebuild. Rebecca tried to restart her business. Word had gotten around. The 3 clients she'd had all dropped her. Her social media shifted to bitter rants about men and divorce laws. My favorite was a post about how prenups should be illegal because they let men trap women and then discard them. The comments section tore her apart. She deleted the post within a few hours, but screenshots live forever. I didn't engage. She was destroying herself just fine without my help. My business, meanwhile, was crushing it. Without the constant drama and stress, I was more focused. We landed 2 major contracts in January. Jason and I were talking about expanding. Life was rolling forward, and Rebecca was just noise in the rearview mirror. Then February happened. I got a letter from Parker. He was representing her in a motion to modify the divorce decree. She was claiming the prenup was signed under duress. My lawyer Adrian read it and laughed. She's desperate. This has no legal standing. So why file it? Because she's broke and hoping you'll throw her some money to make her go away. Not happening. We filed a response denying everything and asking for sanctions. The hearing was set for March. In the meantime, I got a friend request on LinkedIn from Dr. Adrian Wu, declined it. Then I got an email. Long apology about how he took advantage of Rebecca, how he's been in therapy himself, how he realizes now how wrong he was. I forwarded it to my lawyer Adrian and Jennifer. Jennifer told me not to respond, and I didn't. The hearing for Rebecca's motion was a waste of time. She showed up with Parker and tried to argue that I'd threatened to call off the wedding if she didn't sign the prenup. Jennifer brought out emails from that time period, showing Rebecca had talked to her friends about signing it, mentioned understanding what it meant, even joked about it not mattering because we'd be together forever. The judge took about 10 minutes to deny the motion and issue sanctions. She had to pay $5,000 in court costs. Parker looked embarrassed. Rebecca looked wrecked. I was happy. Outside the courthouse, she tried to approach me. Jennifer stepped in front of me. Mrs. Parker, you need to stop contacting my client. I just want to talk to him for 1 minute. You have nothing to say that he needs to hear. Move on with your life. Rebecca's eyes were red. She looked thinner, older. The affair and divorce had aged her. Kai, please, I'm drowning here. I can't find work. I'm living with my parents. I have nothing. Can you just help me get back on my feet? I looked at her and felt nothing. You made your choices. Live with them. I walked to my car. She yelled something after me. Didn't hear it? April brought news that Dr. Wu had filed for bankruptcy. The settlement payment stopped. Jennifer filed a motion to enforce the judgment. But you can't get blood from a stone. I wrote off the remaining balance. The money didn't matter. Destroying his career had been the goal. Then, Rebecca started showing up at the places I went. My gym, my favorite coffee shop, a restaurant Jason and I frequented. After the third time, I had my lawyer Adrian send a cease and desist letter warning her that continued contact would result in a restraining order. She sent back a handwritten letter, 12 pages. How she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, how she thought about me every day, how if I just gave her a chance, she'd spend the rest of her life making it up to me. I gave the letter to Jennifer. She filed for a restraining order. The judge granted it. Rebecca had to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, and my business. Her smartass violated it within a week. Showed up at my office building. Security called the police. She got arrested, spent a night in jail. The judge extended the restraining order to 1 year and put her on probation. One more violation, and she'd do jail time. She finally stopped, but the messages didn't. She created new email addresses, new phone numbers, new social media accounts. All blocked, all documented. May through August were quiet. I didn't hear from her at all. Started dating someone new, a woman named Claire. Smart, independent, had her own money and her own life. Jason approved. She's normal, he said. Life was good. The business was growing. I was seeing someone who didn't treat me like an ATM. Rebecca was finally leaving me alone. Then, September hit. I got a call from Jennifer on a Tuesday afternoon. You're not going to believe this. Rebecca had written a book, a freaking book, self-published, about surviving emotional abuse and financial control in marriage. It was on Amazon. She was promoting it with the hashtag #Survivor Story. It didn't use my name, but anyone who knows us both would recognize the details. I bought it, read it in one sitting. Pure revisionist history. According to Rebecca's version, I'd isolated her from friends and family, controlled every aspect of her finances, forced her to quit her thriving business, and gaslit her for years. The therapist was mentioned as a caring professional who helped her see the truth. The affair wasn't mentioned. Neither was the fact that I'd paid for everything. It painted me as a monster, and her as a brave survivor. The reviews were mixed. Some people bought it. Others who knew the real story left 1-star reviews calling out the lies. I called Jennifer. Draft the cease and desist. If she doesn't pull the book and stop promoting it, we sue for defamation. The letter went out that afternoon. Rebecca's response came 2 days later through a new lawyer. His argument was simple. Rebecca had a right to tell her story. Nothing mentioned me by name. Any similarities were coincidental. The book was protected speech. Jennifer's counter was better. The details were specific enough that anyone in our social or professional circle would know exactly who she was talking about. The claims were demonstrably false and damaging to my reputation. We went back and forth for a week. Rebecca refused to back down. She was doing podcast interviews, posting on social media, selling the victim narrative hard. I had Jason listen to one of the podcasts. He made it about 15 minutes. She's completely rewritten history, man. According to this, you were some kind of controlling psychopath. Did she mention the affair? Yeah, but she framed it as finding comfort with someone who understood trauma because you destroyed her sense of self. We're suing. We filed the defamation suit in October, asked for $750,000 in damages, a public retraction, and removal of all promotional materials. Rebecca's lawyer fought it, but discovery destroyed her case. We pulled financial records showing she'd contributed almost nothing. We had her own tax returns. We had the divorce records showing the adultery. We had the licensing board report detailing Dr. Wu's ethical violations. Most damaging, we had her own social media posts from during our marriage, where she'd talked about how generous I was, how much she loved our life together. Her lawyer tried to argue those posts were made under duress. Couldn't prove it. By December, Rebecca's lawyer was pushing for settlement. They offered to remove the book if I dropped the suit. My counteroffer was simple. She removes the book, issues a public statement admitting she lied, pays my legal fees, and donates $50,000 to a domestic violence charity she exploited with her fake story. Jennifer said she'll never agree. I told her then we go to trial. We went to trial in February. 3 days. Jennifer methodically destroyed every claim in Rebecca's book with documentation, financial records, and witness testimony. Jason testified about the state of our marriage. My accountant testified about the financial arrangements. Even Rebecca's own mother admitted under oath that I'd never isolated Rebecca from family and had always been respectful and generous. Her own mother. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Found in my favor on all counts. Awarded me $500,000 in damages. Of course, Rebecca didn't have $500,000. Her lawyer filed for bankruptcy protection. The judgment would hang over her for years, garnishing any wages she managed to earn. Outside, Rebecca was crying on the courthouse steps. I didn't look at her as I walked past. That night, Jason and I celebrated at my favorite steakhouse. My new girlfriend Claire joined us. Do you think she's learned her lesson? I think she is desperate, and desperate people will keep doing stupid things. It's okay. I'm always ready. Claire laughed. We all are. Don't worry. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. Handwritten, no return address. It was from Rebecca. 20 pages of rambling apology. How she'd made terrible choices. How she'd let Dr. Wu manipulate her. How she knew she'd destroyed everything good in her life and had no one to blame but herself. The last page was different. More desperate. She said she knows she has no right to ask anything of me, but she's drowning. Can't find work. The judgment means anything she does earn gets garnished. She's 34 years old living in her parents' basement with no future. She's begging me, if I ever cared about her at all, please help her. I read it twice, then threw it away. Didn't respond. She'd made her bed. She can lie in it. A year after the defamation trial, my life had completely transformed. The business had expanded to 3 cities. We'd hired 20 new people. Revenue was up 40%. I'd moved into a new house, furnished exactly how I wanted. Claire and I were serious. We were talking about moving in together. She knew the whole story about Rebecca. Didn't judge me for it. Just accepted that it was part of my past and moved forward. Jason had gotten engaged to his girlfriend. I was going to be his best man. Life had this forward momentum that felt incredible. I hadn't heard from Rebecca in 8 months. According to mutual friends, she'd moved out of her parents' place and was living with roommates, working retail or restaurant jobs, barely getting by. The judgment was still there, garnishing 25% of whatever she earned. I didn't feel bad about it. She'd made choices, and choices have consequences. Then March brought an unexpected development. That's when I knew this woman never gets tired of trying to take revenge. But as I said, I am always ready, and she will keep hitting rock bottom. I got served with paperwork for a bankruptcy filing. Rebecca was trying to discharge the defamation judgment through bankruptcy. My lawyer Adrian reviewed it. She can try, he said, but judgments from willful and malicious conduct typically aren't dischargeable. We'll fight it. We filed an objection arguing the judgment came from her willful and malicious defamation. The hearing was scheduled for May. Rebecca showed up to the hearing looking rough, thinner, tired, wearing clothes that didn't fit right. Her bankruptcy lawyer was some kid who looked fresh out of law school. Jennifer argued our case. The defamation was intentional. Rebecca had known the claims were false. She'd made them for profit and to harm my reputation. Textbook willful and malicious conduct. The bankruptcy judge agreed, denied the discharge. The judgment stayed. Then Rebecca's lawyer asked for a payment plan reduction. The judge looked at Rebecca's financial affidavit showing she was making about $2,000 a month and shook his head. The garnishment stands. She left the courthouse crying. Well, I left thinking about what to have for dinner. That night, I got a message on LinkedIn from Rebecca's account. She was begging me to make it stop. Kai, for God's sake, just listen to me. The garnishment is destroying me. I can barely afford rent and food. I'm working 2 jobs and still drowning. Can't you find some mercy in your heart? No, I couldn't. I deleted the message, reported her account for harassment. In June, I heard Rebecca had been evicted from her apartment. Apparently, working 2 jobs still wasn't enough when a quarter of your income was being garnished. I didn't care. She'd built this life for herself with every bad choice and every lie. The business kept growing. Claire moved in. We talked about getting engaged. Life was everything I'd wanted it to be. August was when it happened. I was at the office late. Everyone else had gone home. I heard the elevator ding. Building security usually locked it down after 7 p.m. The office door opened. Rebecca walked in. She looked terrible. How did you get up here? I waited for someone to come out and caught the door. Kai, please, I need to talk to you. You're violating the restraining order. It expired. Please. Just 5 minutes. I should have called security. Should have had her removed immediately. But something about how broken she looked made me pause. 5 minutes. She nodded, sat down across from my desk. I've lost everything. My career, my reputation, my future. I'm with nothing. I work at a coffee shop and clean houses on weekends, and I still can't make rent because of the garnishment. I'm 1 month away from being homeless. How is that my problem? I know it's not. I know I did this to myself. The affair, the book, all of it. But Kai, I'm drowning. I can't survive like this for another 10 years. You should have thought about that before you published a book full of lies. I was angry and desperate, and I made it worse. I always make it worse. But I'm begging you now, please. If you ever cared about me at all, please stop the garnishment. Let me try to rebuild something. I looked at her, saw the desperation, the brokenness, the complete destruction of the person she'd been. No. Kai, you had 1,000 chances to do this differently. At every single point, you chose to make it worse. You chose to fight and to lie. These are the consequences of your choices. I'm begging you. And I'm saying no. You made your bed. Sleep in it. Or sleep on your friend's couch. She broke down. I didn't care. You need to leave now. Your 5 minutes are up. I'll do anything. Just please make this stop. There's nothing I want from you except for you to leave and never contact me again. She just sat there crying. I called building security. They came up within 2 minutes. Security escorted her out. I watched from my office window as they walked her to her beat-up car. I went back to my contract reviews. Had dinner with Claire 2 hours later. Told her about the encounter. How do you feel? Nothing. That's not my responsibility. Fair enough, but don't you think it's a bit too cruel? I mean, I am not justifying anything for her, but she seems really wrecked. Claire. She cheated on my dime, then tried to paint me as the villain. She's earned this. She paused for a second. Well, I can't argue with that. Good. Forget about her. Let's enjoy the meal. 3 months later, I was planning my wedding. Claire and I had gotten engaged in September and set the date for April. Life was crushing it. The business was thriving. My relationship was healthy and balanced. I'd closed the chapter on my past and was building something new. You'd think Rebecca has moved on too, but nope, she never quit. But here's the grand finale, and it was very, very satisfying. I got a letter from, guess who? Rebecca's lawyer. Not the bankruptcy kid or the defamation guy. A new one. The letter claimed Rebecca was facing homelessness and destitution due to the garnishment, and requested a meeting to discuss a settlement that would end the judgment in exchange for a public apology and removal of all remaining online references to the book. I called Jennifer. She's trying again? Are you serious? I kid you not. Third lawyer. She must have convinced this one she has a case. What's your read? She's desperate. The garnishment is destroying her ability to survive. She's probably hoping you'll settle for pennies on the dollar just to end it. Set up the meeting. I want to hear what she's offering. A week later, I met Rebecca and her lawyer at Jennifer's office. Rebecca looked marginally better than she had at my office. Hair washed, clothes clean, but still thin and tired. Her lawyer was a woman in her 50s who looked competent. Mr. Parker, thank you for agreeing to meet. I'm Ellen Delgado. I represent Rebecca in this matter. What are we here to discuss? My client is willing to offer a public apology, permanent removal of all book-related content, and a signed statement that her claims were false. In exchange, she's requesting you forgive the remaining judgment balance and end the garnishment. She's offering what? An apology in exchange for nearly $500,000 in debt forgiveness? And the public retraction. She understands the impact her false claims had on your reputation. I looked at Rebecca. She was staring at the table. Why now? Rebecca looked up. Because I can't live like this anymore. I'm making $2,400 a month, and $600 of it goes to the garnishment. I can't afford rent, food, basic necessities. I'm one bad month from living in my car. Again, why is that my problem? It's not. But the judgment isn't helping you anymore. You won. Everyone knows you won. Keeping the garnishment going isn't getting you paid meaningfully, it's just destroying what's left of my life. Jennifer leaned forward. The garnishment is recovering approximately $7,200 per year. At that rate, my client will never recover the full amount in any reasonable time frame. Ellen nodded, which means realistically, he'll never recover the full judgment. Rebecca will never earn enough to pay it off. So the question becomes, is there value in accepting a settlement that gives my client some of what he wants? Public acknowledgement that he was right, in exchange for ending a garnishment that's never going to fully recover the judgment anyway? I sat back, thought about it. What would the apology look like? Ellen slid a paper across the table. It was a drafted statement. I read it. It was a full admission that she lied about me being abusive, that she had an affair with her therapist, and when I filed for divorce, she tried to destroy my reputation, rather than taking responsibility for her actions. Where would this be published? Wherever you want. Social media, sent to mutual contacts, published on a website we'd create specifically for this purpose. I looked at Jennifer. She gave a small shrug. Your call. I looked back at Rebecca. Why should I believe you'll actually follow through? Because I have nothing left to lose. And because. She paused, swallowed hard. Because you were right. I destroyed everything and I will regret it for the rest of my life. I threw away a good husband and a good marriage. I was a user and a liar. Now I'm just asking for a chance to survive. She started crying. The room was quiet. I thought about it. The money didn't matter. I'd written off the judgment years ago in my mind. The garnishment was about consequences, not recovery. Besides that, the point was teaching her a lesson. And apparently she learnt it the hard way. All right. I finally said, I want the statement published on every social media platform she has. I want it sent to every mutual contact we have. I want it pinned to the top of every profile for a minimum 1 year. And I want her to agree to never write, speak about, or reference me or our marriage again in any forum for the rest of her life. Ellen made notes. We can agree to that. And one more thing. I looked directly at Rebecca. I want you to admit that the prenup was fair, that you signed it knowing exactly what it meant, and that you spent 5 years contributing almost nothing while I funded your entire lifestyle. Rebecca's face crumpled. Kai, those are my terms. Take them or leave them. Ellen looked at Rebecca. It's your call. She put her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. Ellen put a hand on her shoulder. Rebecca, you don't have to do this. We can walk away. Rebecca shook her head. No, he's right. She looked up at me, eyes red and blotchy. I'll publish whatever you want. I'll admit everything. Just please, let me try to survive. I looked at Jennifer. Draft it. We spent the next hour hammering out the details. The statement got longer. Rebecca had to admit the affair. Admit she'd contributed almost nothing financially. Admit the prenup was fair. Admit she'd lied in the book. Admit she'd tried to destroy me because she couldn't handle being held accountable. By the time we were done, it was a complete and total public humiliation. Rebecca signed the agreement without reading it. Ellen made her read it. Rebecca, you understand what you're agreeing to? This is going to follow you for the rest of your life. I understand. I deserve it. We all signed. Jennifer would file the paperwork to vacate the judgment once Rebecca published the statement, and we verified compliance. Rebecca and Ellen left. Jennifer looked at me. Do you feel good about this? I feel like I finally got what I wanted. Not the money, the acknowledgement. She's destroyed. She destroyed herself. That night, Rebecca published the statement, posted it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, emailed it to our entire mutual contact list, pinned it to every profile. The responses were brutal. People she'd convinced she was a victim turned on her, called her a liar, a manipulator, a fraud. Her remaining friends defended her at first, then went quiet when the evidence came out. Within 48 hours, her social media was a wasteland. She deleted everything except the pinned statement, per our agreement. I didn't read the comments, didn't care. The truth was out. That was enough. Claire asked if I felt vindicated. No, I feel finished. She admitted everything publicly. We went back to planning the wedding. Rebecca's public humiliation faded into background noise I didn't think about. That was 6 months ago. I haven't heard from her since. According to mutual friends who still occasionally mention her, she moved to a different state. I got married in April. Claire looked incredible. The wedding was everything we wanted. That's the real win. Peace out, Reddit. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.